Hey guys, what's going on? It's Alex from Fitment Industries.
And it's Andrew, what's up?
And we're doing another episode of This or That.
Then of course, the choice is yours. You can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that. I think you get with this, because this is where it's at.
Setting up the set for this time around.
And we got a
Oh my
microphone
God.
for Jasper, so
Yeah.
he'll be talking nice and loud so you guys can hear. We took your considerations into consideration.
Yeah, we took your questions into consideration
Yeah.
for this video. So we have 12 questions this time. And remember, if you guys want your question answered, you just got to drop it in the comments below. And of course, don't forget to subscribe. And thank you so much for 50,000 subscribers. That happened super fast. We couldn't be more proud of you guys. But of course, let's just get right into it.
Yeah, let's get it rocking. You guys rock too. Really good comments the last couple of weeks. We
Yeah.
love doing these. These are like a
Absolutely.
blast. So it's cool
Yeah.
to see like what you guys want to talk about and then have us blab about it for 20
And I
minutes.
still have no idea what the questions are. So Jasper, Jeffer,
Number one.
Question 1 comes from the Shadow Owl. Back roads or city streets to have fun on?
I always wanna say both.
Yeah, I mean, like if I was out having fun and I was driving, slightly above the speed limit, which I never do
In Mexico.
in Mexico, I would say country driving. I love swooping old roads. I used to live in a town called Eau Claire, Wisconsin, and between Eau Claire and another town called La Crosse is like an hour and a half of just straight curvy roads, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's probably one of my favorite drives I've ever done. I've been to Tail of the Dragon and all that sort of stuff too, but I really enjoy country driving, just not at night because of the deer up here are absolutely insane. But if it's a Friday night at like 11 p.m.
Oh,
and I'm
yeah.
looking to do some stunting on some
Yep.
drunk college students as they're walking down
Yep.
College Avenue, I like city driving.
Before he was married. This
Before
is like
I was
old. Yeah.
Yeah, old me.
Yep, old Alex.
Yeah,
To
that's
clarify.
what I would do. Yeah,
I feel ya.
Disclaimer.
I would agree with that. My dad has a condo up in Door County. It's like Upper Peninsula here in Wisconsin, and the roads are beautiful and it's cool. But like, I hate to sound like such like,
A snob.
yeah, I was gonna say a different word. Beep. I hate to sound like such a beep. But like, I hate having the bugs on my car, and then now they get all over my roof box, and you gotta scrub them off.
Oh my.
Such a car show.
But I'm always like I like doing photos and like videos and stuff on the weekend. So like city driving, like you said, man, like midnight, 1 o'clock, like the air is cool. You can hear the
Yeah.
turbo. You're cruising around. The city lights are gleaming.
Yeah,
So
it's awesome. It's awesome.
yeah, I don't know. It's like 50-50.
Yeah.
Question 2 from Michael Sten.
Speak up. They're gonna say we still can't hear them.
You have to run one Fast and Furious era mod.
Era mod.
Huge vinyl graphic or underbody neon.
So
So Ja Rule graphics or Paul Walker neon.
I would say Paul Walker neon. I would probably run neon over the Ja Rule graphics and whatever graphic that original Fast and the Furious like Gangster Squad had.
It was like the sword with
Yeah,
the
it was
hand.
like the sword dude. I always thought it was Metroid, like the video game, and then I grew up and I realized it wasn't that. But yeah, I would do neon, the underglow. I always thought that was cool. My favorite scene from the Fast and the Furious series is Too Fast, Too Furious when Ludacris calls Paul Walker and he's like, "You got 4 minutes," and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like the whole like opening shot of the R34, and I remember being a
it's
kid
ripping.
and just being like, "That is awesome," and that's all I got. Underglow for life.
Yeah, so I used to have underglow on my Civic, and I could drop a photo of that. It was super obnoxious and extremely Fast and Furious looking. I was like, Jasper's seen it. In fact, I have actual photos. For those of you kids that are a little bit younger, they used to make actual photos that you would print, not just digital ones. So I have a bunch of photos in my car. I had like a massive tear graphic on the side, and I had underglow. But like if I was to do something to the all-track now, I would put glow on it. And I've
Yeah.
actually debated it.
Yeah,
Maybe just
retro
white
glow.
though. I don't want it like a freaking rainbow under it.
That'd be cool.
I used to have that. That was old me also.
That was old thing.
Question 3 comes from Gerard Revax. Dark window tint or light window tint?
I get window tint so people can't see inside my car. I don't
Tints.
get window tint.
Is it tint or tints? You tell us.
Yeah, it's definitely window tint.
We always argue about it. Got them tints, dude.
Do you have, oh gosh, that's true. Do you have windows or window? See, all right, anyway, I would say dark,
Dark tint.
Yeah.
Dark tint, like limo tint, or anywhere like a couple percentage above, like 15 or limo tintish. Or what's limo tint's like 5.
5,
right?
yeah, limo tint's 5.
So black car, blacked out windows looks
Yeah.
awesome. I also like the look of white cars with blacked out, but on this. You used to have
Yeah,
dark tint on your AMG.
I had weird tint kind of on my EMG. I had blue filter tint on the front for like attentive driving so that it didn't put you to sleep. But then if you were in the back seats, it was an orange flared tint and it was like 35. And so it was more of like a warming color. So like the front was more of like a daytime light, and then the back seats were more of like a sunset light if you were
That's
blasted
cool.
with light. But my Datsun had 5% tint, and that car was straight white. And that always looked so good. I could not see when I was going out in that car, though. Anytime past 7 o'clock, I could not see a damn thing.
Anybody that says they can see, I see perfectly at nighttime when I'm driving,
No.
you are full of it, man.
Yeah,
My buddy
there's
had
no-
like 5% on his car, and it looked dope, and you get in it and you see
You
nothing.
can't see anything.
But I have like a mirror tint on mine. It's Suntech Infinity Series 35, and it's almost like the Euro tint, so it's like really, there's like a sheen to it, kind of a slight mirror, and we're not supposed to have reflective tint here in Wisconsin, but if I did,
It's
in
pretty
case
cool.
there's any police watching, but yeah, it's dope.
Question 4 comes from RX McLaren 7. Japanese large body luxury sedan or German large body luxury sedan? So like a Lexus LX or an LS or an Audi A8 or S8.
Oofta.
I already know for sure where I'm going with.
You go first.
So I'm a big Euro guy. I've drove the A8, I've drove the S8. Once again, I worked at a car dealership for a couple of years, Audi Volkswagen dealership. And when you get inside an A8 or an S8, it's like, I feel like I'm like future, like Rick Ross. Like you're in the space coupe, you're creeping, wood grain, kick the feet up. The S8's like what, like 600 horsepower?
Yeah, it's crazy fast.
It's like 600 horsepower, and it's insane. The first time I got inside one of those, I'm like, I would spend 100,000 plus, whatever the price tag
Those
is.
cars
on
are
those things.
crazy. Those cars are insane.
But the VIP style, static, freaking crazy hella gang VIP Lexus LSs are super dope.
Yeah.
Like I would love to go to we take a trip to Tokyo and just find where they're just creeping this ride and rim.
There's so much. There's a guy here even actually he's out of Minnesota that has a bagged LS, and it's probably the nicest VIP car I've ever seen.
Oh, the black one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I have a photo of it. We'll toss it up. It's a good car.
But I do have to say, I would probably still choose Audi or old school Euro. And the reason I say that is because I've been into Mercedes for a long time, E-classes especially. And when I had an 89, I've had a 90 420 SEL. I had a buddy that had a 99. And they're so big and so comfortable. My friend's 98 had power windows, power seats, heated seats, cooled seats, adjustable rear seats. It had all 1,000 different options, and this car was almost 20 years old, and it was absolutely insane. So I would probably still shoot for old school Euro over old school import for VIP. And that's just me being a Mercedes fanboy. I just like them a lot. I've always liked them.
Question 5 comes from Brendan Rose. Classic Beetle or classic Mini?
I don't like the old school Mini. It makes me think of Mr. Bean.
Yeah, I think Mr. Bean ruined it. I think it would be a really cool iconic car
Wasn't it from the
if
Mr.
it
Bean
wasn't
movie or
Mr.
something?
Bean involved in it. I would say
Those don't do anything for me. And we've talked about this before too. There's so much culture and history with the old school Volkswagen Bug.
I feel like we're VW fanboys, but it's just I don't know. I think the Mini Cooper is cool by all means, and when I see an old one that's still alive and restored and stuff, it's
cool
really
to see.
cool to see.
Yeah.
But I've seen so many. Jose Fuentes from Milwaukee had a right-hand drive VW from a car club here in town, and I absolutely adored that thing. I thought it was probably one of my favorite cars that he's ever owned. I love that thing to death. I love old school VWs, Bugs especially. I mean, they're just. I don't know what it is about them that I like them so much, but there's so much heritage and history with them. I just dig them. I'm not a huge. I guess it's a British car, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not a huge British car guy. I guess there's not a whole lot out there besides. I believe Aston Martin is British, right?
It's MG.
MG is British, but MG is old school. I don't think that. Yeah, but. Yeah, there's just not a lot that comes out of there, I think, that I would truly enjoy besides the AMs. So.
Yeah, me and Jasper just had the opportunity to see some really cool looking Bugs at Eurohanger up in Holland, and every time I see them, I don't think about them until I see one that's super done up. I'm like, damn, actually,
yeah, and they look good. They look really good.
Yeah, Yeah, good stuff.
Next question.
Bugs all day.
Question 6 comes from Alberto G. Japanese muscle or Euro cars?
Japanese muscle?
No,
No,
Japanese,
Japanese-
muscle or Euro cars.
Hoofda.
Japanese muscle is a thing though.
That is a thing.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
that's
a very.
like Datsun. Yeah.
I mean,
Jap-
I don't know. I think for me,
Subcategories.
yeah, there's so much subcategories. I know what you're gonna say. Euro fanboy.
Yeah, well, duh. But let me tell you this. So, it was Japanese muscle or Euro. So let me tell you. So I'd take a Japanese drift car.
Yeah.
I would take a muscle car for a drag car, and I would take my Euro for a daily driver.
That's
Boom.
true. Yeah, you've got all three.
Yep.
I've always enjoyed American vehicles, especially the older ones, for what they were, because they were such a tinker, plug and play motor application that really dawned a lot of what the modern motorsport era is in the United States. You know, the iconic 350 that we all kind of rag on is a car that most people have built and started to understand what building a car was. Like my Datsun had a 355 in it that I learned how to build because the thing could take as many mistakes as I could throw at it with no problem whatsoever. I think that if I had to choose between Japanese, muscle, or Euro in terms of only having one, I would probably say Japanese. There's something about, for me, like the old school Japanese Datsuns that I just enjoy, the 2000 GT Toyotas that I just enjoy. There's just so much of an interesting culture that's not American that I love. And I love Euro stuff too, but Euro is, it's almost like going to a party in a suit. Like it's always formal, it's always clean, it's always nice, it's always intricate and sophisticated. Yeah. Sometimes you just want something that's like, I don't know, not dependable. Kind of weird.
The Japanese
funky
stuff gets more off the beaten path.
Yeah, like off the beaten
more
path.
oddity stuff.
And
yeah.
I think that
Sure.
the Japanese car culture, a lot of those old Japanese stuff, like that is what they do. I mean, even the
Sure.
Datsun with so many parts of different cars, that's what made it a Datsun.
Sure.
You know, so I would say Datsun. That's my guess or my choice.
So import.
So import.
Yeah.
It's Japanese.
Wasn't
He's
a-
just changing the question.
Import. Oops.
Question 7 comes from WRX Nation.
I wonder what he
Lip
likes.
spoiler or big wing?
What was it?
Lip spoiler or big wing?
Lip spoiler, big wing. So,
No. Sorry, go ahead.
so if we're gonna talk about like the massive Battle Arrow GT wings, they're like 174 inches, I think, right? It's like the common
Yeah.
like massive width. I only like those on drift cars. Me and Jasper were actually just talking about this morning. He's got a buddy with like an E46 or whatever, massive wing, but the dude does like track racing. When I see people that are actually beating their cars, it's a real track car, it's like, it's stripped out, it's like got a roll cage. Like I would expect you to have a big wing, that's cool. I just am sick of seeing people like slapping these massive chassis spoilers on everything. Like there's a couple dudes we know locally, just a nice clean duckbill on like a 370Z, or even like the old school Civics. I really started enjoying like duckbills. I did just like a very subtle duckbill on the top of my roof wing, so I just go clean.
Yeah.
But I will say, back in the day, Fast and the Furious again, the APR GT2 spoiler, the classic aluminum with the black sides, not the really tall one, there was a smaller one. One of my buddies had an Eclipse, and I wanted that wing so freaking bad. He sold it to this dude, and I was supposed to drop it off. I put it on the back of my Civic, my 2001 Civic, and I thought about it for quite a while. I almost did it. My dad talked me out of it, and I ended up getting a Bomex fiberglass painted spoiler. I'm so glad I did. But those things were tight.
When you say things like that, you date yourself so hard.
This was like 2004 or 5.
That is.
I was 6.
I'm a little older than Alex.
The intern was 6, in case you were wondering.
Jasper's a baby.
I would go with. I prefer the low key. I like the humble mods. I would say just like the lip, the little duckbill,
Yep.
small lip. I always think they look really good on pretty much anything that has a fat booty. Like
Yep.
Evos, I think it looks really great on. I think they look great on 370 and 350 because they have
Z-cars,
such a
yep.
wide end. Yeah, I would probably go with just the duckbill. I'm not a huge fan of I like seeing chassis mount wings on certain cars. Like there are some race spec Porsches that have these massive wings. I'm talking huge wings. And it's cool to see, but it's for function.
Sure,
so
sure.
It's kind of like when you see people that have racing harnesses in their car, and yet their car is completely stock. It's like, why would you do that. And it's like, well, if it's for looks, then you got to just say, okay, I did it for looks, I didn't do it for
look fresh.
function. But you got to kind of take the criticism with it. If you drive your car and you need that, then great. But you also have to understand that there's a difference in function between a lip and a duckbill and aero and a spoiler and then a chassis mount.
Sure.
Like they all serve different functions depending on what you're looking to do with them.
Yeah.
So it takes them a little
Question
bit.
8 comes from Nathan Bramlich. Buy a nice racing simulator and race on it often, or race a few times a year in an actual car.
Wow.
So racing simulator.
Would you
or
rather live your life in VR, or would you rather
hit the track and
hit the track,
real life?
or have a badass VR life? That's pretty much what it's saying.
So we got to
We did.
ride in one of these. It was actually pretty nice. It was
Yeah.
at the Miltech booth at SEMA.
Yep. It was at the Miltech
and like,
SEMA this year.
we
last
walked
year.
up to the second floor of SEMA and I saw that thing and made like a beeline over to it.
I remember
I was like,
that.
I'm getting in this thing
Hi,
first.
Miltech. I'm gonna go. Just
Yep.
let me tell.
They're
Okay.
like, hey, let me show you about the new exhaust. I'm like, yo,
No,
I'm
I
going to your
just need
racing
this.
simulator.
Yeah.
And we both drove that thing around. It was like pretty dope. That's the nicest one I've driven. And even if I had to take a guess, that was maybe like what, like a $5,000 to
Yeah, I'd probably say like a
$10,000 one?
$7,000 machine.
They make like $50,000 like with the hydraulics
Yeah,
and like
that's
carbon
cool.
and stuff like.
That's cool.
I honestly, I hate to sound like a video game nerd because like all I do is play like Mario Kart 64. I don't even not really into gaming, but I would probably take a simulator, man. If it's like 50, 70 grand, like super nice.
Yeah, that's tough. I
Those
mean,
sim parties and stuff. Is that a thing?
and you want to know what else you don't have to worry about? You don't have to worry about the car braking.
Yeah, there's no maintenance unless
Yeah.
like your memory is full.
Yeah, or like
your hard drive
replace
explodes.
your hydro or something. I would probably still take a real vehicle that I would track a few times, mostly just because I barely ever drive like fun cars a lot anymore, and I always kind of get made fun of because if I could, we hosted a road rally, team and I just a week ago, and they used to make fun of me. They said if I could trailer my car through a road rally, I probably would, and
Damn.
that's probably the truth. I would rather drive it a few times and enjoy the few times that I drive it and spend the rest of the time fixing it because I know it's going to be broken. That's probably what I would do.
You let me ride in your race car, and you can come over to my simulator
yeah,
party.
exactly.
Question 9 from James Gildia. GTI or GLI?
I'd probably say GTI. I don't know why. I just like them more.
Because it's a hatchback.
Yeah, I mean,
I had a GLI. I could talk about this for an hour.
yeah, I know you've got.
could make a full episode
You've
on
got
it.
way more. You've got way more history with the GLI GTI. I think I don't know, the GTI for me, it just is kind of
It's an iconic car.
Yeah, it is.
them.
And
It's
for whenever I think of Volkswagen, my first thing I think about is a GTI. It's just always has been, and they're just great cars. You can go out there and buy a base model. You can buy a super modified one, and like the
Dude,
price
for the
ranges
money,
are
the price
super
point. Yeah.
affordable for what they are. It's crazy.
I think even ever since the diesel scandal, I was actually just looking at new ones just for, and giggles the other day. And it's the prices went down, I think, since the big Dieselgate thing or whatever. You can get into a new GLI for like 25,
Yeah,
26
it's
grand.
insane. It's insane. The GTIs too. I mean, I have a friend of mine in Minneapolis that just picked one up, and he absolutely loves it. GTI, and he's floored with what he got for the dollar amount, and he's just surprised that he could get what he got out of that car.
The
It's cool to
Autobahn
see.
edition, you get the Fender audio. So
Yeah.
I had an SE, it was 2015 Reflex Silver, all done up. You guys have probably seen it on the channel from months
Yeah.
back. But I got a GLI because I like the sedan, and I feel like when you go to shows, you see a lot more GTIs just because it's kind of more iconic. But I will say, if you own a GLI, you're gonna have a lot harder time finding parts for those. Where
Yeah.
if you go out and look at GTI stuff, like you go to every single Euro website, and it's like boom, 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 like GTI parts all day, and there's like the GLI section has like 5 things you can buy.
Yeah.
So that's the only crappy thing is you're gonna end up with like a lot of the same parts as with the GTI guys. Can just have a freaking heyday for aftermarket.
It's cool to see people do stuff with the GLIs because I've seen some really cool ones, and that's really
That's
awesome
pretty
to
cool.
see. You are never out of modifications though when it comes to GTIs.
Yeah.
It's like the Lego.
all day.
It's like the Lego of the car community. You really can
Yeah.
do anything.
Build that mofo up.
Question 10 from Christian Petkov. 6 sound system mods or 6 engine sound mods, but you can only have one, which I think means more like a
Intake or
like
something.
intake and like exhaust, or
Like a diverter valve spacer,
right, or like
DV
a
spacer.
sweet sound system, but you can only have one.
I'm one of those weird guys. I don't even like listen to the radio in my non-cool cars. I just like drive because it's a function. I would just say like
engine mods?
Yeah, engine mods.
Yeah.
Intake, diverter valve, blow-off valve, exhaust. I'm not one of those bumping guys, I guess. I've never really been a big audio guy to begin with.
Car stereo. I've never
Yeah.
had subwoofers because I've seen all my buddies back in high school where their trunks get like, pried open and people yank them out, and like
Yeah.
people were jacking subs back in the day, man.
That's because
like,
they used to be super expensive.
Yeah.
And now they're just like nothing.
Question 11 comes from Charles G. Loud straight pipe exhaust or subtle performance exhaust?
Depends on the car.
Agreed.
I've had both. I had both on the same car. I had a Datsun with a 355 supercharged V8, and then it was like 6.5 pounds of boost. And then when I first bought it, we ended up doing a dual side pipe side exit
that's right,
on the
yeah.
car. And so it just kind of dumped out the sides right underneath the doors, and it was loud, it was obnoxious. It sounded like a Harley is what it sounded like. And it was kind of cool because it was side exhaust, and you could say it was side exhaust, but it was obnoxious. And then we had a friend of mine made its own custom single exit exhaust. It was like a 3-inch. It was awesome. It was very well done because getting aftermarket Datsun exhaust
That looked
to
good,
work
man.
was
That looked
really
really good.
tough. And he did an amazing job.
Yeah.
And I love the sound of it. It was super it had great tone. It was nice. Some people didn't like it because it was a single exhaust on a 355, but it worked, and I'd say clean. I just like clean and quiet performance exhaust.
So I'm running a AWE tuning Catback, the Touring Edition, and it's just that. It's very subtle. It's very performancy. It just has a nice subtle rasp to it. But when you hammer on it, mine's DSG. So if you hammer it in sport mode, it just sounds clean.
Yeah.
And I heard there's one more question, guys.
Is there one more question?
Yeah.
For someone,
Hello?
thank you whoever
Hello?
wrote this question, Jasper. Please tell us.
Everything else said. Cut the guard. Sorry. That's how you pronounce it.
Mario reads so much better than Jasper.
Yeah.
Question 12 comes from Katagari. Intern this or that, Mario or Jasper?
You go
Mario.
first.
Mario or Jasper?
You go first.
Well, first we'll give our answers, and then here's homie Mario. Jasper, go ahead and get in here.
You come in here.
So, Mario's my guy. Me and Mario go way back since we first started Fitment Industries. It was literally just us two out in the field making videos and stuff. So,
Out in the field.
yep, out in the field making moves. But Jasper's a good dude. He's a great photographer. He's a cool homie. We just got a weekend hangout at the car show together up at Euro Hangar. So, I love them equally, 50-50. They're both my boys. Sit down, fellas.
Wow. That's a terrible answer.
Wow. Way to be.
Look at that.
So, all right. So let's
All
see. Mario actually isn't even an intern.
No intern for me.
But Mario.
Get out of the shot, dude.
We got it.
Jasper was just in the shot. It was awesome.
fine.
And
We got two. We got
so there's a couple things that they both could work on. Mario doesn't know English.
That's true.
He doesn't know big boy words like chicken
don't.
pot pie and
Beef
pot
roast.
roast,
Pot roast.
beef roast.
Sick.
We're teaching him.
Rotary.
Rotisserie was a big one for us.
That's another one.
But he does a good job. He makes all the suspension wheel histories and stuff. Jasper, on the other hand, he just makes a lot of grunting noises most of the time. Doesn't really know what's going on. And he drives a slanty wheeled car. So
Yep.
you can kind of take that one as it is. He cuts and makes his own shorts, which is
Show the.
Jasper, get in there.
uncomfortable.
Right in the middle.
Jasper's trying to act like he's not going to get in the shot.
They're both all right. Mario's my homie because he helps with a lot of the editing. Jasper's good stuff because he's funny. So it just works out well. Skill set, well, Mario knows it when he gets his words right and he doesn't mess up anything.
We don't have to micromanage Mario. Jasper, he's a little questionable, but that's why he's our intern.
Right.
No, they're both good stuff.
Full jorts. Yeah.
Jorts. So that is the, fifth episode?
That's it. Thanks for watching number 5, guys.
So we'll see you later. Don't forget to subscribe and drop a comment on what you'd like to see next, and we'll see you later. Peace.
Peace.